Welcome back to the Awaken series. Today, we're diving into a topic that quietly shapes everything you do. Your decisions, your confidence, and your ability to grow. We'll explore why some people work hard yet feel stuck, why opportunities seem to slip away just when things start improving, and how unseen patterns in your mind silently drain your energy and block abundance. By the end of this talk, you'll understand how to stop leaking your creative and financial energy through small unconscious choices. You'll see why your growth may have stalled, and learn a practical technique to reprogram your mind toward prosperity. This session has 3 parts. Part 1 reveals the hidden energy drain behind fear-based decisions. Part 2 uncovers the psychology of why we resist our own expansion. And Part 3 gives you a powerful mental tool to align your subconscious with abundance. If you stay until the end, you'll walk away with clarity and a renewed sense of control over your energy and growth. Let's begin. Every decision you make carries an energetic signature. When that decision is rooted in clarity, trust, or enthusiasm, it expands your life. But when it's rooted in fear, pressure, or insecurity, it quietly drains it. These are what I call money-zapping decisions. They're not just financial mistakes. They're energetic leaks, moments when your actions and your truth fall out of alignment. Think about it. How many times have you said yes when every part of you wanted to say no? How many times did you take a job, buy something, or agree to a deal, not because you truly wanted it, but because you feared losing approval or stability? Each of those moments creates a small fracture in your energy. You may not see it in your bank account right away, but you feel it in your fatigue, your attention, and your lack of clarity. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance, when your behavior contradicts your values. Your subconscious feels the conflict and tries to restore balance by releasing anxiety or guilt. Those emotions aren't punishment, they're feedback. Signals that your inner world and outer actions are no longer synchronized. When this misalignment becomes a habit, your energy baseline drops. You begin to operate from contraction instead of expansion. Your choices become defensive rather than creative. This is how abundance gets blocked. Not because the universe withholds it, but because fear collapses your awareness into survival. And in survival mode, you can't see opportunity, you only see threat. That's why people trapped in fear often say, "I have no choice." But that's not true. The choices exist. You just can't perceive them when your mind is busy defending the old self instead of creating the new one. To clear money-sapping decisions, start with awareness. Ask yourself, did this choice come from inspiration or from fear? Am I moving towards something or just away from discomfort? Am I protecting myself or expanding myself? Awareness interrupts the autopilot loop. The moment you see where your energy leaks, you begin to regain control. Each aligned decision, even a small one, starts recharging your inner battery. It tells your subconscious, "I can trust myself again." And when that trust returns, abundance begins to flow. Not because you forced it, but because you stopped blocking it. The first step to building wealth, creativity, and growth is not doing more. It's leaking less. And that begins the moment you choose truth over fear. Once you stop draining energy through misaligned choices, another layer appears. The deeper pattern of growth unrealized. And growth unrealized is not failure. It's potential waiting for permission. It's the gap between who you are and who you're capable of becoming. A quiet pause between expansion cycles. Most people misinterpret this gap. They think they're stuck or regressing, when in fact, they're in the incubation stage of growth. But what often keeps them trapped there isn't lack of opportunity, it's unconscious resistance to thriving. Psychologists call this the upper limit problem. It describes how each person has an internal thermostat for success, love, and abundance. When life exceeds that limit, we unconsciously sabotage ourselves to return to what feels safe. You finally receive a raise and suddenly pick a fight with your partner. Your business begins to grow, and you procrastinate on the next step. You meet someone who truly loves you and doubt if you deserve it. Why does this happen? Because your nervous system associates expansion with danger. Your subconscious still carries old programming, beliefs like too much success changes people, or if I earn more, others will envy me. So it creates friction to pull you back to safety. This is growth unrealized, not because you lack ability, but because you haven't upgraded the identity that can hold the next level of abundance. To break this loop, you must expand your self-concept, the internal picture of who you believe yourself to be. If your self-image is still rooted in struggle, no strategy can override that energetic identity. You'll always return to the version of reality that matches who you think you are. That's why genuine self-love is not self-indulgence, it's energetic maintenance. Loving yourself means trusting you're worth enough to hold more. It means saying, it's safe for me to grow. When you cultivate that safety internally, your subconscious stops resisting expansion. But emotional safety isn't built through affirmations alone, it's built through action. And that action is called self-love in practice. Self-love is often misunderstood as pampering yourself or saying nice words in the mirror. But real self-love is discipline. The commitment to treat yourself as someone worthy of time, care, and excellence. It's not indulgence, it's stewardship. You protect your energy the same way you would protect something sacred, because that energy fuels your growth. In practical terms, this means dedicating at least 1 hour every day to something that nourishes you, not out of obligation, but out of devotion. 1 hour where you create, move, rest, or learn purely because it brings you alive. That hour is not wasted time, it's recalibration time. It signals to your subconscious that your joy matters, that your life is not just about survival or output. This simple ritual rewires the nervous system. When pleasure becomes safe, abundance becomes safe. Your mind learns that thriving doesn't require exhaustion, it requires alignment. And from that place of inner respect, your external world begins to mirror the same respect back to you, in opportunities, relationships, and prosperity. From that state, you begin to experience the growth cycle, a phase where inspiration flows freely, new ideas emerge easily, and life begins to support your next evolution. You stop forcing growth. You start allowing it. And this is the paradox. The less you chase results, the faster growth happens. Because expansion is your natural state, you only delay it when you doubt it. Once you understand the mechanics of energy and identity, the next step is reprogramming the subconscious to align with your desired reality. This is where the "what would it take" technique becomes powerful. At first glance, it sounds simple. You ask, what would it take for me to? And fill in the outcome you want. But beneath that simplicity lies a profound neurological shift. The human brain filters reality through the reticular activating system, a mechanism that decides which information to notice. When you ask a question instead of making a statement, you activate curiosity rather than resistance. You bypass the subconscious gatekeeper that usually rejects affirmations it doesn't yet believe. If you say, "I am wealthy," but your subconscious holds years of scarcity memories, it argues back, "No, you're not." But when you ask, "What would it take for me to feel financially abundant every day?" the mind begins searching for evidence. It engages its problem-solving circuits instead of its defense mechanisms. This is the genius of the question form. It converts disbelief into exploration. And exploration is the exact vibration when new ideas and opportunities appear. Use this technique in 3 steps. Step 1. Define the desired state clearly. Be specific yet open. Instead of, I want more money, ask, what would it take for me to generate income doing what feels meaningful and joyful? This focuses your subconscious on alignment, not just accumulation. Step 2. Ask without forcing an answer. You're not demanding logic, you're inviting insight. Ask it mentally several times a day while driving, walking, or journaling. Let the question linger. Your subconscious will process it in the background, reorganizing perception and drawing new ideas into awareness. Step 3. Follow the small nudges. Answers rarely arrive as thunderbolts. They come as gentle impulses. Call that person. Open that email. Revisit that idea. Each time you act on these small signals, you strengthen the bridge between intention and manifestation. Over time, this question reshapes your reality. It moves you from the frequency of wanting to the frequency of creating. You stop asking from lack. You start asking from potential. Philosophically, the what would it take method represents active surrender, the balance between human effort and universal intelligence. You declare your desire, then release the how to a higher logic. That surrender isn't passive. It's trust in the creative process that operates beyond conscious reasoning. Wealth isn't just the result of effort, it's the reflection of alignment. The most prosperous people aren't always the hardest workers. They're the ones most aligned with the flow of value and inspiration. They ask questions like, what would it take for this to be easier, more joyful, more impactful? And that curiosity leads to innovation, efficiency, and prosperity. When you practice this consistently, life starts to feel like a conversation instead of a struggle. You realize reality responds not to demands, but to resonance. You don't force abundance, you align with it. So if your growth feels unrealized, if your choices have been draining instead of empowering, start with this simple question. Ask it sincerely, not as a trick, but as an opening. What would it take for me to live at my optimum level of abundance, creativity, and peace? Then listen, not just with your mind, but with your awareness of life itself. The answers will come through patterns, people, and possibilities that match your new frequency. Because the moment you ask that question, you've already shifted from limitation to expansion. You've moved from survival to creation, from fear to curiosity. And that is where abundance begins to flow again. True abundance isn't about the number in your bank account. It's about your capacity to stay open to life. Every time you clear a fear-based decision, you reclaim energy. Every time you honor your growth, you expand your capacity to receive. And every time you ask, what would it take? You invite the universe to collaborate with you. That is how you enter your growth cycle, where ideas flow, opportunities align, and peace coexists with prosperity. Because abundance isn't something you chase, it's something you become. If this message resonated with you, take a deep breath, let it sink in, and when you're ready, subscribe to the Abundance Float for more reflections like this. Together, we'll keep growing, calmly, consciously, and in alignment.